For Oklahoma State, we have head coach Josh Holliday. First question will go to Jacob Unruh, the Oklahoman.
Hey, Josh. Just kind of, start with your thoughts and just kind of how things went those first four innings.
Oh, didn't have a great start, Jacob. That's for sure. They came out and got some pressure on us early in the first and got an early lead, and then obviously in the second inning they were able to really capitalize on getting some runners on base. The first bunt was probably an out to be had. The second bunt was just perfectly placed by an extremely fast player. But I think the difference was the big hits they got to drive in multiple runs and get a really big early lead. I mean, that's a tough one. And then we couldn't quite get any kind of pushback and couldn't mount our own big inning to get back on their heels. So they did a nice job. They got some key hits after they built an inning. They closed a couple innings out with big hits. That's really, I think, probably the nature of the first four innings if you were going to summarize it.
You had so many guys come back this season for their extra season. What's the level of disappointment with the way that things end?
Well, you're going to be disappointed, Jacob, until you win the whole thing. So it would be short-sighted on my end and the kids' end to let this ending discount the joy that we've experienced this year together. Their careers here are not defined by this game. Many of these kids are preparing for a life of excellence in the sport of baseball or life in general, and that's a byproduct of what they've done together here at Oklahoma State. I would say I'm extremely proud of them. They carried on a proud tradition here of putting us in the postseason once again, of putting us in the conference championship game once again. And we're parts of many, many firsts in our new ballpark and in a 2021 season that, quite honestly, I appreciate the heck out of these kids. So, yeah, this game stings. It hurts. And the final result's tough to swallow. But I've learned a long time ago that if you only judge success by whether you won the national championship or not, you might have a life in sport that's very unfulfilling. So that was our goal. We set out for that. We didn't land there, but we had many, many joyous moments along the way, and most importantly, great experiences and great relationships. So we're disappointed. Yes, we are, but I'm not disappointed in them. I'm proud of them, and I'm appreciative of their effort. And appreciative of our staff's effort, our trainer, Eli Williams. What a year for him to keep us healthy and look out for us and care for these kids and all of us. Man, you have no idea the hours that man's put in to keep us on the field of play. Our strength coach, Wes Olm, obviously my coaching staff, which is terrific. Just a lot of people put a ton into this. So to be disappointed in the result of this game, yes. To be disappointed in this season, no shot, man. I'm very proud and appreciative of everybody here.
And Santa Barbara for two games put a lot of pressure on you, stealing bases, bunts, small ball. TCU kind of did the same thing in the title game. Is that something you look to address more in the off season, kind of dealing with that and controlling runners a little bit more?
Yeah, those two teams featured a style of play that was very aggressive. We need to handle that better as a team in the future. Yep, that's pretty accurate.
Thanks, Josh.
Next question, Shotgun Spratling, D1 Baseball.
Hey, Josh, it felt like, especially in that second inning, everything was kind of inches away, whether it was a ball being caught or a runner getting under the tag. Is there anything you can do as a coach when it feels like everything's kind of piling up against you in a game like that?
It's tough, isn't it? I mean, that inning had that feel to it. The only thing the game's ever presented when that happens is if sometimes the pitcher can get a strikeout because it seems like once the ball's put in play, it's just hard to stop what's going on. So sometimes the strikeout is the one play in the game that can put a stop to it, if you will, because they were continuing to make good contact and spray balls through. And I mean, yeah, that's tough. It had that kind of hard to stop momentum to it. It did. And yeah, sometimes the only way to stop it is someone to make a great player to try to get a strikeout. Obviously we were trying to do both those things, but I'm going to give them a lot of credit. Obviously you're always responsible for your own performance and your own team's shortcomings when you have to improve, but you also sometimes have to look across the field. There was some well executed pieces of hitting. There was some clutch swings at clutch times. I mean, I can't disregard that as a coach looking across the field and saying that whatever the 3-hole hitter, 4-hole hitter who's been out for quite some time, for that kid to come back in and swing the bat the way he has, that kid's a great story. So Yeah, it's just a little bit of both, shotgun. It's the game. Sometimes it can make you, jump to the heavens in joy and love it, love the experience. And some days it brings you to your knees. It just doesn't seem like you can quite put the brakes on.
And with Castanon in particular, was it just you guys not making your pitches, or was he hitting some good pitches? Both games he got you pretty good.
He had hits to all fields. I think he had hits on all speeds of pitches. I would probably just have to tip my cap to him and say, did a good job of moving the ball all over the yard on us.
And then maybe this is too soon to say, but what's the biggest thing you need to address this offseason?
I don't know, buddy. I'm not that good, partner. We're still reeling in some emotional disappointment of having to say goodbye to a group of kids and a team that has meant a lot. And there's time to evaluate your team moving forward. There'll be a lot of teams today that'll have to answer that question you just asked. And I'm sure coaches will put their heads together and collectively think about the things, but you got to spend a little bit of time soaking in the relationship piece of this and being there for these kids before you turn the page.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Next question, Marshall Scott, pistols firing.
Yeah, Josh, you mentioned not judging seasons on whether you won the national championship or not. What are some of the moments that you think, looking back 5 or so years, that you'll remember about this group and about this season?
Well, so many of the kids individually and their growth and what they've meant to OSU baseball over a 3, 4, 5 year period. There's some wonderful kids here that you go way back with them now, Marshall. So relationships would stand out first and foremost. Appreciation to them for coming back and being such loyal members of the program. That's very high on the list. There's a loyalty piece of those kids that means a great deal to all of us. The way that they ushered us into our new facility and created some really exciting first moments, that stands out for me. The way we adjusted and overcame some tough injuries during our season, that really stands out for me. I'm proud of them for that. The way we finished strong and hung in there down the end of the regular season in the conference tournament. Again, just bad taste in your mouth after today. But again, that's fine if that's what someone wants to focus on. But that's really a very tiny piece of the entirety of this team and the young men that make it up. Best semester academically, grade point average wise we've ever had in the spring. So the behavior, commitment to team, the fact they did this during this whole COVID experience and we never had a shutdown or anything. They made sacrifices on each other's behalf. That's a real part of what this season was made of. And I think now it's not as front and center on everybody's list of things right now, and I'm really glad for that. But when we started the season, it sure was. And so I just appreciate the way the kids committed to doing the right things and competed at a high level. When you can say that as a coach and your kids can represent that, then you have to appreciate that. I do. And like I said, that'd be the first things that stick out to me, that at night when my head's hit the pillow, I've been grateful to these kids for many of those things that we just spoke on. And I'm sure there's others.
Thanks, Josh.
Final call for questions for Coach Holliday. Great. Thank you, Coach.
Okay. Thank you, guys.